There we go.
There we go. Yeah, we're live. Hi guys, it's Nick and Zaheer with our regular Thursday tech cluster. What's it? How are you doing, Zaheer? How have you been?
Well, I'm doing fine. Hopefully it won't be so much of a tech klutz or what's it now. I think that's the best way to put it at this time in the evening. But yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm keeping busy. Just hoping to get a few more items listed. We've dropped below 700 again. So apart from that, not a great deal.
Do people keep buying your stuff? Is that the problem?
It's so inconvenient. They don't think about these things, do they? And no, you can never have enough buyers.
Exactly.
And some of it's because I'm messing around with we're messing around with some of the listings to shove them onto auctions tonight. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah, you're going to experiment with that. That'll be interesting to see how you get on.
We've picked out. Well, I say we. Rebecca sat here and picked out 30 items that we kind of we like filtered it down by what had lots of page views, things like that. So not necessarily just the highest watches, but just kind of cross matching it with like page views and watches, just to try it really. I mean, we're completely new to this. I can't remember the last time I auctioned anything. So
it's the idea to just get something moving, to just get stock moving. It's a bit sticky, or just some revenue.
Yes, I think I want some kind of like if it works, I'd love to do it weekly. I'd love to have like 5% of my inventory up at auction at all time, so that you can get some kind of like a regular income coming in from it. Like so you're getting something. So not as much. I mean, the difference in if the stuff we list sells at the lowest price, obviously we'd make a lot less than if we did buy it now or whatever. But it's
yeah, I think, I don't know, I use it very rarely. I've only done it one recently, which was some Pokemon cards, and because I knew the demand for that, especially right now, is huge. You can't really go wrong, and it is going to find its level. I think you're treading on shaky ground if you're going to list something that's quite uncommon or unique, because there may only be one person that wants it, in which case you only get your starting bid. That's the fear. So are you going to start them at a reasonable price, or how are you going to do it?
Yeah, I think like some of the stuff, and we're gonna like discuss it further, like when we do our videos and stuff as well. But we're like talking about setting pretty high start prices, but some of the stuff I'm like, we're not in it for anything anymore. Like it's leftovers from other stuff, and I'm like, it's been hanging around for a bit. I'm sure it would sell eventually at the normal price, but why not just get it moving and free the space up for something else? Just a bit of a movement in that respect. So
I'm all for that, and as you can see behind me, I'm going to be doing a whole lot of clearance quite soon. Actually, I better say, for those who haven't been following my channel, I have moved my office and Andrea's everything pretty much from the shop. So what you can see behind me here, all this side, believe it or not, is unlisted TAT. There's a couple of racks down here that are full of what is on eBay. So yeah, my task, this is stuff that I haven't managed to squeeze in yet, and there's another carload maybe to come. So yeah, I'm going to have to get busy. My vague plan at the moment is I'm going to send everything I can to FBA to clear some space. And I was just chatting to Tom actually about this on text. Then I think I'm just going to start with the biggest thing and work down. Just to literally create space. Once I've got a bit of space to get more organized in here, it'll be fine. Then it'll be kind of easy going, hopefully.
I've got to say, I'd love to have that much stock. I think I've definitely come around to your security blanket way of thinking. It must feel good in a way that, considering you've just come from, well, I mean, obviously you've had a nightmare in terms of the logistics of moving everything from one location to the other, but surely it must feel pretty good in the sense, I mean, that you've got so much stuff to list.
Sometimes when you've spent all day every day for 3 days, 4 days you've spent moving it, you pretty rapidly get sick of it. I'm sure you did when you were moving yours up north.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
It wasn't.
Going back to our last chat where we said how much stock is too much, and I think I've tipped over that balance.
You found out how much is too much.
This much is too much, that's for sure. Yeah, I do. As I've been going, when I'm feeling like, you know, good about it all, I can just see the monetary value, and it's like, wow, I'm just going to have fun clearing all this. But when I get tired and I've been moving it all day, I just get fed up looking at it all. It's just
I can imagine.
It's crazy.
It is a bit mental. I mean, it's an insane amount of stuff to get through, and just like you said, I mean, it was interesting what you mentioned there, chatting to Tom about just how you're going to work your way through it. I mean, are you just going to go for physically the bulkier stuff, get that listed and out of the door, or are you going to kind of start rooting through and then going for the valuable stuff, or are you just going to just churn through it at a shelf or a box at a time?
Well, like I say, the vague plan, and it's very vague, is the easiest way to get rid of stuff for me at the moment is FBA. And there is a lot of stuff that I didn't realize I had tucked away that's perfect for FBA. So that's the first one. And then that's gone, no hassle, and it's perfect time for Christmas. So that's step one. And then I think I will literally just go for the biggest boxes or make up bundles of stuff that's maybe, you know, just needs clearing. And then when I've got a bit more space to actually be able to move stuff around and see what I've got, then I can start going through it with a fine-tooth comb and yeah, really digging into it. But I really had no idea the scale of what I had. I think it was deceptive down at the shop because we had so much space to squirrel it all away. So I'd just been, for the last year and a half, because I hadn't been concentrating on eBay at all, nowhere near listing how much I normally would, but I've been buying at a rate, you know, quite a lot, as you've seen in haul videos. So it's all had to go somewhere, and this is the net result. So
I mean, that is pretty. I mean, and I think a nice little offshoot topic of that is when people mention how they're struggling to find stock. I mean, even if you take into account, because there are people out there that were concerned, or not necessarily concerned for you, but were probably wondering, hadn't you shot yourself in the foot by putting yourself out there in the community in such a big way and being so prominent, especially on YouTube? Weren't you worried that you were going to be going down aisles and people will be going, oi, that's Nick, I'm going to add an extra $5 into my prices? Clearly, nothing like that has happened, really, because you found, you know.
No, I have had, I mean, we've spoken about it. So I have had moments, you know, when you bump into people that watch your videos at the same boot sale as you. And I have had moments where it's like, what have you got in that bag? I bet that's stuff I've told you to pick up and I would have had it. So I have had moments like that, but I've certainly not struggled to find stock. And that is evidence of it. But bear in mind, this is a year and a half of backlog. You know, I haven't found all of this in the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's going out in this season. You know?
Actually, I mentioned Tom. I need to do a numpty of the week or an idiot of the week, and it's me, right? Because when we had our gaming shop for years, we had, I think it was 5 or 6 attempted break-ins and one where they broke in and wrecked the place. So I was with the shop, not so much, I'm not that paranoid at home, but with the shop I was. So with the Mac that I'm using now, it's quite an expensive sort of £1 or £2 worth of Mac. I had it, they have a hole in the base, and I put a padlock through that, drilled a great big hole in my desk and padlocked it to itself. But I lost the key. So yesterday when I was trying to clear my desk, I was like, junk. Oh yeah, I padlocked it to the desk. Had no clue where I'd put the key. So then I've had to saw a hole in the back of my desk.
That's the only way to get, oh my God.
Just to move my Mac. So, proper idiot.
So it's a chunky lock you've got on there.
It's just one of those, like it's like a bike lock.
Like one, yeah. So with all the different strains of wire going through.
I was never going to cut through it, so I had to cut the wood and make a big enough hole to get it.
Oh my God!
It's still attached to the Mac. The bike lock is still attached to it.
When you come to sell it, I mean, it can be like a little extra.
Yeah.
You know, through the loop.
I must have the key somewhere. I must have it, but
it's got to turn up. We've already got 68 people in the chat, so thank you everyone for popping in. 69 people now, so thank you everyone for popping in and saying hello. We've got Chelsea, Larry Master, Ken's in here, Mark Peterkin, my junk mail, I think, Happy Chap, Adam Incredible, Larry Master, Ultra Game World. Your missus is in here as well. I'm hoping mine's watching as well, but she's not said hello yet from what I can see. Den of hello everyone, thanks for popping in. David McGregor as well. So wow, 74 people. Yeah, so you guys are going to be treated to a high definition extravaganza today.
I know, it's such a relief not to have that. It's a decent enough laptop, but it was so crap with the
webcam.
The webcam on it was awful. So yeah, we're back to, and I've actually got my photography light set up here because I haven't changed these to strip lights yet. So yeah, high definition, and I've even had a trim.
I'm not. I don't know. According to Buxton, mate, I'm going for the chav look. In the chat.
Oh well, we were discussing before. I can match you for that. No, what's this one?
Oh, that's pretty classy. Jameson Irish whiskey. That's pretty. That's a nice cap. Now, this is just a regular golf cap that I picked up at my local charity shop for like £1. I was going to sell it, but I've got a really giant head, so I struggle to find caps that fit my enormous sized head. So
I think you do well with this one. This one's all over the place on me.
Is it? So I was really excited. So I was like, I'm going to keep it, even though it's not really my cup of tea. I had a really nice Houston Oilers one, which I don't know why I sold. I regret that now. But
I used to wear caps a lot. When I worked in America for a summer season on kids camps over there, and I picked up some American football caps while I was over there, and I wore those for years, but I kind of got out of the habit now. But that is a nice one, actually.
I don't know. I think I kind of go in and out. I think when it starts getting kind of this season, I always end up wearing hats and caps. But I don't know. We'll see. It's probably just a thing. You know, I'm just trying to be cool.
You are cool, Z. I think you're cool.
Oh, thanks, Nick.
I think I've managed to get the chat open. I'm just trying to see. Can't seem to scroll it down. Hold on.
Oh yeah, it's gone down quite a bit already.
There we go. Oh, damn it. Right, let's see who's in there anyway. Question: is Andrea's stock holding of clothes as big as yours, Nick? It's not far off it. We were moving a lot of the clothing today, and it just got overwhelming because we're trying to sort it as we go. So Andrea's now got crates stacked up in what is her office, which is the kind of rear extension of the house. And we've now got bin bags full in the living room and crates in the living room. The spare room is now full of clothing. So yeah, Andrea has as much, if not more, of a stock issue than me. So neither of us are short of stock to keep us busy.
Wow, that just sounds attractive at the moment. I'd love to have stock. I need to go out and get some. We're hoping to go out tomorrow to pick some bits up here and there, but just to keep things ticking along, really. But I mean, it's been a bit up and down recently. eBay land, in a way, I found sales have just been a bit sporadic. I'm not quite sure why, but they just seem like you have a few days in a row where they're like decent, you know, and then suddenly you get like that big slump which kind of wipes out the previous day's effort, or you know, or the next day was only catching up with what you lost out on the previous day. So yeah,
I think everyone's found it a little bit tough. I don't know if it's to do with kids going back to school, so everything's in that sort of state of flux, and people are out of their usual habits, so that might have something to do with it. I mean, my sales haven't been great at all, but then I've got NAF all listed, so I can't complain. Amazon's been quite consistent, and eBay's just been hit and miss. Every now and again, like you said, I'd get a weird little flurry of stuff that sat on forever. But I've not put new stock on for a couple of weeks. So
I think half of it's definitely spending habits, though. I mean, I think it's something you've mentioned before, that saving money is akin to making money, because you do get that horrible feeling when you look back at what you've done over the last 30 days and you're like, where is it all? You know, there should be some more in there. I think that's something that you got to keep track of, and especially when you're buying stock, because you're selling, you're going out and you're buying And I think that's kind of one of the things to bear in mind, that, you know, how much money can you have tied up in your inventory as well? I mean, you know, how much can you afford to have tied up? I mean, there's quite a few people actually mentioning in the chat they're finding things a little bit hit and miss as well. We're starting to get a few questions coming in as well. So was it Adam McNulty? Hi guys, did you see the communication from Amazon about having a minimum amount of sales during September, October to be able to sell in the toys game section at Christmas? That's something they send out every year, isn't it? And it only applies to you if you're doing a merchant fulfilled sale, isn't that right? Or, you know, when Amazon send out like,
yeah, I think you have to kind of qualify. You have to have X amount of sales within that category so they feel comfortable for you to sell in their peak period. I don't know if that's a different email he's talking about, but
yeah, I mean, I think if it's the one that I think it is, which they send out quite regularly, or they sent it out last year as well, I think all it means is that that only applies to you, I think, if you're merchant fulfilling. If you're doing fulfilled by Amazon, then I don't think it applies to you. I think if you're doing FBA, you can still send stuff in, but
yeah, because
you've got to, like you said, you've got to have hit a certain amount to continue selling during. I think it's all the way up until the first week of January, if I'm right. I think something along those lines. I think it's normally the first week of January.
I think so. I'm not sure, to be honest, but yeah, it sounds like the email we've all had where you have to qualify to be able to sell in toys and games in peak period.
Gary Dunstan mentions Nick ain't in the dark. So
yeah, somebody else was saying just before, Andrew Wilkinson says, wow, I can see Nick. I did tell you all this day was coming when I had my Mac at home. So I've now got my decent Mac and I've got my super fast broadband and we're all good. we're back to normal. But yeah.
Mickey Moose has a question here. If for reasons beyond your control, you had to take a break from all aspects of reselling, what would you do to earn money other than a regular job?
Other than a regular job?
Yeah.
No reselling and I've got to earn money.
Yeah.
I can't take a regular job.
Yeah.
What I'd have YouTube. I'd go mental on YouTube. I'd affiliate link everything possible. I don't know. I don't really have. I can't think what else I'd do apart from, you know, go and get a regular job. What would
and maybe set up, like, I mean, like if you're like doing FBA, for example, you can kind of have it set up so you can get at least a trickle of income coming in.
Yeah, but he said no reselling. What would you do?
You wouldn't technically be reselling because the work's pre-done in a way. I don't know, but it wouldn't be too easy.
I don't know, but the thought of going back into employment, it's
yeah,
it's been so long for me now that it doesn't necessarily scare me. I've been out of the loop for so long, been my own boss for so long, not had to answer to anybody for so long. I think I would really struggle to fit in. I'm a belligerent bastard anyway at the best of times, let alone after 15 years of not having to say yes to my boss.
Yeah, the one thing that I struggle with is other people's rules. You know, it's unless you have to. I mean, and the obvious exception, the obvious rules that we all have to follow are the platforms that we sell on, or whatever else. So, for example, you know, you have to follow eBay's rules, you have to follow Amazon's rules, and it's kind of okay because they're not telling you what to do. They're just saying, we don't want you to do this. Now, you're still free to break every rule they've got. It's just that you won't be allowed to sell on there anymore. So it's not, do you know what I mean? It's not someone telling you what to do, is it? It's just someone telling you, you can do what you like, but if you do,
to be honest, most of the rules and that, we can understand why they're there, and they're there for our benefit in the long term.
Yeah.
I think fundamentally I have an issue with authority, which is hilarious, thinking that I joined the police force, for God's sake. And I wouldn't be surprised if you'd find that thin thread running through all of resellers we know, that they have maybe not an issue with authority, but working for the man. You know, that's something that runs through all of us in some form. And yeah, I think it's key to give you that impetus to keep going, is the thought of having to go back to how things were, or working for the man or whatever, because
I mean, yeah, rules. I just can't abide being told what to do. Unless it's the missus, then I have to.
Well, I was going to say, if you ask Andrea about this, if she tells me to do something, she knows damn well I won't do it. You know what I mean? I'm like that. I question everything. I always have done, especially rules and regulations. So yeah.
Okay. So look, we have got a question here. Oh yeah, I mean, you've kind of answered that. Will Nick consider going into retail again in the future, or is that door completely shut? Oh no, you haven't answered that. Yeah, obviously, in light of your shop, I mean, is it anything you'd ever consider?
Honestly, when we closed our gaming shop, which was called Replay, that we had for 8 years, we did really, really well out of it. We were never going back to retail, right? And then 4.5 years later, we were setting up a shop and, you know, gambling all that money again. So right now, I would say
never,
not a chance. But I said that before, so I don't know. I really can't.
Never saying never, isn't it? Never saying never, but no.
Yeah, and things change and circumstances change, and you know, look at yourself, Zaheer. You would never have imagined. Let's go back 2 years.
Two months, really. 2 months even. I would never imagine that would be. You know, I just had a phone call from my daughter's school down south because they'd been contacted by the secondary school saying where is she? Because obviously, you know, she's moved and everything. So, and I'm like, wow, literally a couple months ago, I was, you know.
So the old school phoned you to say, where's she gone?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because the school she was meant to be going to down there contacted them asking where she is.
Oh.
I mean, they're taking their time up here. I mean, we're due in to go in for like a meeting at the school next week. So the kids are literally fed up of being at home now. They've had too much holiday. But we're bound by, you know, we can't exactly change anything. So we have to just.
Yeah, that is slow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's taken a while. I mean, they had to wait until my older daughter's school opened back up, and then they didn't get back in touch straight away, and then the usual kind of bureaucracy type situation.
Okay. Right. Let me have a look. I've just got one that says question here. Carol Bell. Any tips on selling DVDs? No one seems to want them these days. Yeah, DVDs are struggled to sell because most of them are mass produced, and the likes of Music Magpie selling them for pennies. You can get them in Poundland secondhand for £1 each. So the vast majority aren't. You just have to be very picky, and it helps if you're selling on Amazon because you can scan the barcode and get an instant appraisal of what it's worth. There is money in DVDs, but there's no quick answer to this either. There's no how to make money with DVDs booklet I could send you out or something.
You could make a booklet. It'd be quite useful.
But yeah, it's difficult. It's a case of doing your research when you've got it in your hand, really. Do you dabble in DVDs?
Not really. Only box sets, really. I mean, I did pick up a DVD that I thought looked good at the boot fair at the weekend. I paid like £1.50 for it because it was one of those music style ones, like like a documentary with a booklet, and it's only worth like £7. So it's not a great flip at all. But normally I've just got my eyes open for like the obvious box sets, like Lovejoy or Friends or something substantial that I think will have value. But I can't do that. And also I've got one of those. I'm not good at looking at the condition of discs. Like I'll catch it in the light where it looks mint, and I'll get it home and I'll slightly angle the disc and I'll see that it's like been rubbed over sandpaper.
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah, I hate that. It happens to me all too often. So
it's bright sunlight. I find if you're out sort of midday and the sun's mint there, it's like, wow, this disc is mint, because all you can see is the glare, really. And then you get it home into like half light when you're inside, and it's mullered. So
yeah, so, definitely.
I just saw a comment from Vinny, actually, going back to working for the man. He says, this is Vinny Gardner. I hated working for the man on £3.30 an hour back in the day and selling £100 worth of clothes per hour.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the first time I went self-employed and I set up my first little record shop, that was when I was working for Virgin. And when we were busy in Virgin, I would sell thousands and thousands of pounds worth of gear in a day.
Yeah.
Constant. We'd have a constant queue in Virgin. And at Christmas, it was just the numbers that went through that place. And you just end up feeling like, you know, a hamster in a wheel. You really do. And don't get me wrong, I loved working in record shops because I love music and the whole, everything around it. But you just end up sick of making Richard Branson rich. That's all it came down to. So that was my impetus to start this whole journey, was I'm going to do this for myself, because I had the knowledge, I had the passion, and that's where it all started, really. It's probably similar to Vinny, actually. Actually, I might as well say Vinny is due to be our guest next week, although we're going to have to switch up the day of the show. Actually, we need to talk about that, don't we? It'd be interesting to talk to Vinny about that and what got him started in retail. What are we going to do about the day? Because we're going to have to switch from Thursdays, because Zaheer has an auction that you need to go to Thursdays now. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, there's a local auction that I'd kind of like to go to. I mean, I could bid on it right now while we're talking, but I don't like bidding online, especially after buying my brass bronze statue. So I'm kind of like, like with any auction, to be honest, it's always better when you're there and you can route around the lots and see them, and, you know, get a real idea of what's what. I mean, you know, there's it's one of those things where you think, oh, there's like a box of this or there's a box of that, and you can't really get a good idea of it unless you're there. So, and this auction happens every Thursday, and there's one on Wednesday as well, and probably one on, I think there's one on Tuesday, but they're all different days. But I mean, I'm okay in most other days. So I think we were thinking Friday or another day, Tuesday.
Friday or Tuesday. I've just noticed Vinny can't do next Friday.
Okay.
So perhaps shall we plumb for Tuesday? I mean, that kind of works for me. Andrea tends to go out Tuesday evenings anyway.
I'm happy with Tuesdays. Yeah, Tuesdays. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, from now on, it can be the Tuesday chat.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll put it out there, guys. Unless you hear otherwise.
The Tuesday tattle.
Yeah. Something like that.
No, we don't have to. I mean, that's ridiculous. But
that's fine. Suggestions in the chat. What would you name this? This ongoing chat. I still like the clusterfuck one. To be fair.
Friday night is magic, Nick. Okay.
Friday night magic. I used to run Friday night magic tournament.
Well, that's an excellent example. There's a box of magic cards going up for auction this evening, but you know, you can't be there to see if there's any special looking ones.
How many cards?
I can't tell, because it's just a picture of a box. You know?
It doesn't say how many, or it doesn't give you a weight.
It actually just says box of collector's cards.
Oh,
that could be anything. Yeah, exactly. Could be. You want to be there, see if there's anything. You know.
The thing with trading cards, and again, we'll probably chat to Vinny about this, is a box full of cards can be worth anything from virtually nothing to thousands of pounds, and unless you know what you're talking about with collector's cards, it's just
not worth it. Yeah,
shot in the dark. Yeah,
exactly. All right, let's see what other questions we have. The camera.
Oh, Sean's in there. Sean's just said, have any of you ever picked up Bow Selector?
I have done, and I actually got given it as a present many years ago, but so I've never had to pick it up. Although I did see the Bear Special Edition DVD.
Oh, the furry one.
Oh yeah. Really funny.
I did have that at one point. I don't think I've still got it.
He was brilliant, the bear.
Yeah.
Question from
Sean knows. I better just explain. Sean knows that Zaheer and I are super fans of Bow Selector.
It's just it's the best show. It's so funny.
So tempted to do some impressions, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'm gonna have to wait. Questions ahead. Do you find it more stressful now on quieter days, now fully reliant on resale money? Karen, the answer to that is yes. Mega stressed. There are days at the moment where we are like very much tense, especially with Rebecca. She's feeling sometimes that there's not enough to do because we haven't organized properly enough. Like, she's used to having her days more planned and structured, and she likes structure. So she wants to know that there's like an order of things happening, and then when she wakes up in the morning and there's like nothing directly planned to do, you know, I'll be like, oh, I don't know, let's see if we do a bit of this or do a bit of that. It frustrates her, so we need to kind of work on that. So yeah, of course it's stressful, but it's, you know, I remember, like, I think Caroline once mentioned she's got this really awesome little kind of quote on her wall somewhere about, of course it's hard, you know, it's meant to be hard, and it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't hard, that kind of situation. So that's the way we look at it, to relieve the stress. And making videos has been really enjoyable. We've been doing that like daily at the moment, and I think that releases a lot of
yeah, I think it does.
yeah,
I watched
Margaret's videos. Yeah,
I watched Margaret's sort of vlog ramble in the car the other day, and she was saying that she really relies on it as a release and being able to talk to people. You know, it sounds daft, but if you're doing this full time, you are, for a lot of the time, stuck away, squirreled away with your mountains of crap. And yeah, it's a release of being social, you know, if nothing else.
correct.
So yeah, I was just looking in here. We had a few suggestions for the name of the show. Oh, blimey, I just lost them. Hold on, where have we gone? The M&N, Malik and Nick show.
I think I'm behind you because I'm at the questions behind you. There's quite a few. You've gone right forward, I guess.
Tuesday TAT chat.
Oh, yeah, you're like right near the end of the chat, Nick.
Oh, I can go back. Hold on.
Yeah, there's quite a few questions.
TAT Tuesday.
TAT Tuesday. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a good question here, actually. Miss Beauty 79 says, what would you think about your children becoming resellers after leaving school or college? Zaheer?
Oh, what you answer? What would you think, Nick?
If it's what she wants to do, I mean, it's a cliche answer, but if it's really what she wants to do, I would support her completely. I wouldn't have any problem with it. I doubt very much she would, knowing Ellen the way I do. She's very creative, very artistic. Although ironically, that was me as well. I went through art college and got a degree in animation and didn't use any of it. But I hope that she will. She's into dance and all of that stuff. But if she ended up deciding to do it, of course I'd be happy. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, I would not like deter her. I mean, obviously, if she had like a great understanding of physics or something, then I'd be like, hey, you're kind of wasting it here. You could be making the world a better place, you know. But if not, then I kind of think, actually, if somehow she could integrate being in charge of her own destiny, you know, that works as well. I mean, you can be self-employed in lots of different ways. You know, you don't have to be, you know, you could be freelance in different ways. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind if she was brave enough to, or if my daughters were brave enough to do that. But it all really depends on them. I would never kind of want to choose or, you know, encourage them in any particular direction. Just encourage them full stop at the moment, and then see where they go.
Yeah. I just really want to instill in Ellen that she has as many options as she wants. I kind of didn't realise that I had the choice not to go through to university because I was capable, and I felt that pressure to do it all. If I'd go back, I would have just knocked the whole thing on the head and set up my own business as soon as possible, 16 if I could, if I'd go back. But I just didn't feel I had the options of or the confidence to do it. So if anything, I'm just going to try, and we try continually to just instill confidence. And I think that's all you can do, really. If we can give them that, that's our work done, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what other questions have we got here? How far back shall we go?
I keep scrolling the wrong bit and then lose the whole chat.
Question from Gary Dunster here. It's like a bit more of like a practical one. But when a customer asks for a refund, what is the best way to do this? Via eBay or PayPal? I've noticed that if you do it via PayPal, eBay don't refund you. That's right, Gary. If someone, I've fallen foul of that as well, where I've just refunded people through But now I don't. Now I kind of, if someone wants a refund, or a return or something, I get them to open a case now. Often they'll say, I don't know how, but when you stick to your guns and say, well, I can only refund you once you've opened the case, they learn pretty quickly how to do it. So yeah, I always try to do it through eBay now for that reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. You get your fees back, as in it, when you sell an item, you get charged fees on it, and you get those back. You never get back your listing fee, but you do get back your final value fee. So it is worth, especially on a high value item, that can be a fair chunk.
Exactly.
So yeah, worth doing.
David McGregor's got a question. Am I going to live stream the end of my auctions? I'm not going to live stream the end of my auctions because in case there are any tears or banging of tables or anything like that, I don't really want to broadcast that. We will make a video about how it went after we've composed ourselves either way, but I'm not going to be doing a live auction like Ben did. That was really well done, that video. That was brilliant. But no.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
I was
just reading some more titles for the chat.
Oh, really?
We'll be moving to Tuesday. Those that have just tuned in, we're having to move this to Tuesday because Z has better things to do on Thursday now. With Sean says TMT, Tat Monkey Tuesday.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Someone else has come up with Tat Junkies. Oh, Tat Twats. We're getting close. Tat Twats is pretty spot on.
Tat Twats on Tuesday.
I think that's it for suggestions. Wow, there's loads of people in the chat.
Yeah, we got 95 people in, so thank you very much for watching. We had, just to let everyone know, we had some kind of a glitch last week, didn't we, where people didn't get like an email notification or something in their YouTube, so not as many people found their way to the live chat, which was a bit of a shame. But I don't know what happened. It was just, for some reason, some people did get notified and others didn't.
Yeah, just a glitch because I set it up the only way I know how, so just a YouTube or Google issue. Yeah,
exactly. Let's have a Luke question. Mickey Moose says, question, do you think that reselling evening classes could be well attended at colleges? There's pretty much subjects for everything nowadays, so yeah, I guess so. I'm sure if there's someone out there that wants to make a course, they could probably get it certified, like a GNVQ or a HND, I don't know, whatever they're called. But you know,
that'll be me sorted for when I'm old and grey. I just rock up and be that professor, you know.
Yeah, you can wear the patches on the elbow and everything.
Oh god, yeah, I could rock patches on elbows.
Patches on elbows, it's the way forward. Gary Dunster asks, do you guys not use a CD cleaner? I use a JFJ Easy Pro and found that it's a great machine. I don't and wouldn't, because it would just be another thing to do. I don't want to do more processes than I have to. And I kind of find that, like, I go, like, I just mentioned that everything's got surface scratches. So, you know, as long as you kind of have an idea that, as long as the disc doesn't look absolutely terrible, if it looks really terrible and it's valuable, I can always go and get it cleaned by CEX or whoever. So that's why I wouldn't. I mean, Nick, you've actually got experience with these, haven't you? Because you had one in your shop.
What was the question? About CD cleaners?
Yeah, the CD cleaners, yeah.
Yeah, I had one for our shop years ago. It was one similar to the one Tom uses now, I think. Can't remember the brand offhand. But you had to have solution and change the heads quite often. And it was quite labor intensive, one disc at a time as well. And we would turn over thousands of discs a week in that store. So the backlog was forever just ridiculous. So I ended up paying a company to do it. Because we were sending in big enough volume, it was so much more time efficient and worth what we would pay. So I ended up outsourcing all of my work. And I don't clean any now. Those that are really worth it, I will pay to get cleaned in CEX. Just have some, I trade in stuff now and again there that I need to get rid of, if you know what I mean. Stuff that there might be something wrong with it, but they're not going to pick up on. I know Tom does a bit of this, and they give me credit, and I use that to clean discs. So that's kind of how I, only on really valuable stuff. Otherwise, I only pick it up if it's not damaged on the whole.
Yeah. Dawn's Beauty Spot asks, hi guys, love your vids, especially look forward to the weekly hangouts. My question is, what if any insurances do you recommend to put in place before setting up an eBay business? I mean, this question comes along kind of regularly. I think my answer just would be however many make you feel comfortable. I mean, you could probably insure a lot of different things in terms of your business, in terms of like outcomes, whether it be to protect your stock, whether it be to protect yourself in terms of liability. There's insurances for everything. Whether you take those out or not is completely down to how risk averse you are, I suppose, or how likely you think it is that something would happen that you need to be insured against it. I mean, that's why I'm not really a big, I'm not into it that much. What about you, Nick?
No, we did have it with the shop and the previous shop, liability insurance plus stock cover, etc. As for working from home, my stock is insured. I have no personal liability insurance. I've had that question quite a number of times. People get very paranoid about selling on an electrical item. I've never had an issue. It's not to say that I never will, but if you're selling an item and it's got a fuse in it and it's got a plug in it, if you're really, you should be fine. But also, if you're really worried, put a big piece of paper in that says, get this tested before using it or something, you know what I mean? Or put that in your auction. And to a certain extent, you've covered yourself there. Say, get this PAT tested. It is not PAT tested if you're worrying about it. But insuring yourself, that's up to you, really. Like Z was saying, how comfortable it makes you feel and what you feel is necessary. But I have my stock covered at home and that's it.
Mickey Moose asks, if someone offered you an outrageous amount of money for all your stock, would you be tempted?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go for it. Take it all.
No brainer.
Yeah.
I'm not in love with my stock. I do like having it and there's that hoarder element, but yeah, if the money's right, God, yeah. I don't know what that figure is. That would be an interesting
I'd want that person to come around now, to be honest. Yeah. Probably get a knockdown price.
I would happily clear all of these shelves tomorrow and start
again.
The thing is, that's the fun bit, isn't it?
Exactly. Imagine someone gave you a wad of cash, took it all, and then you could just start all over again. It would be brilliant.
Damn, yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Oh, I'm going to dream about that tonight now.
We've got Tuesday chat cave chats as an option there as well.
Oh, yeah. I want to get a little sign done for the door here. TAT cave. Get that professionally made.
Oh, good. Let's have a look. Kyle Roberts asks, where do you find info about auctions? The same place that you'd find info about boot sales or anything like that. Best place is Google. Just do a local search. Even if you go to Google Maps and type in auctions, it'll probably ping up auctions in your local area. Look at your local Friday newspaper, that kind of thing, and that's where you'll find those.
Yeah. What's he said? I've just seen Sean say that he was the glitch last week. He was the Google glitch.
He was the Google glitch.
We've got a question from Flippin' Picker. Says, just wondering what cameras you use to take your item pictures. Now, we do things very differently, actually. I do everything on here, which is my iPhone. Zaheer is much more tech about it all.
It's not really. This camera is not worth a lot of money. My lens is worth a bit, but the camera is only 6 million pixels. It's an old Nikon camera. Your iPhone's probably got 10 times the resolution of this now. I don't know, but
yeah, but the key to that is the lens. Would I be right? You can get
my lens is
better angles. And
it's not even about the lens for me. It's just when I'm taking a lot of photos, I just so much prefer holding a camera to take photos. I just don't. Like my phone's got a really good camera on it. Like it's a Nexus 5X, so it's the latest. Well, it was one of the latest Google Nexus phones, and it takes great photos, but I just hate using it. I don't mind taking one photo, but if I'm taking like loads of photos of tons of stuff, I absolutely hate it, and just can't get on with holding the phone to take photos. So I still use a camera for that reason. I've tried both. Camera does have the phone does have an advantage where when I was using the phone, because I did for a while give it a good go for like a couple of months. Whenever I was taking a photo on it, it was just sending the photo wirelessly to the folder on the computer, and it would just be ready to use. Whereas now we've got to go back old school and connect a USB cable and transfer the photos, but it takes no time. Like, it transfers so quickly.
Yeah, I do love the fact that when you're using the app on here, it drops it straight into the listing. And I was watching, I think it was Les actually mentioned, because I like writing my listings on the Mac. I like the keyboard, I like the speed of typing. I hate typing on these things. That's my only bugbear with using the app. But I love using the camera on my phone to just drop my photos in instantly. And Les said something interesting. It might have been in his Hangout the other night, where he writes a load of drafts, speedily whips through, does sell similar, saves them as drafts, and then when he does his photos, he literally just opens the draft on here and drops in the pictures when the item's in front of him and uploads it. So then you've got the best of both worlds. So I'm going to try that out, and I think that might be, for the time being, my perfect listing.
Yeah. Well, exactly, whatever works for you. I mean, the app on Android isn't as good as from what I've heard anyway. But yeah, I love using computer and such like. Julie Hall has put my mind at rest. She's just told me that I haven't missed anything tonight, not even a bronze statue. Brilliant. That's good to know. Let's have a look. Wesley Lowe, do you sell purely on eBay and Amazon or anywhere else, and how? For me personally, yes, it's mostly eBay. 99% eBay, and then like 1% Amazon. Nick, for yourself?
Currently, it's probably about 3/4 Amazon and 1/4 eBay. That will change slowly as we get our arse in gear with this lot. Andrea still experiments with other platforms a bit, but we have very little on other platforms. I was just looking.
We've got 109 people in now. Thank
Gary
you,
Dunster. Yeah, I got 109. Wow, that's getting up.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever thought of running your own shop like Craigslist Hunter, where customers come and bring items to you? I have considered that. I was thinking when we couldn't make the numbers do what we wanted with the clothing, I was thinking of switching that. But the whole thing for us was we didn't want to be tied to a shop again. We like the freedom of not having a shop, which sounds daft considering we just had one. But what we wanted to do with that was staff it and move on. And having a place where basically people come to sell to you, like a bit like Pawn Stars or whatever, you've got to be there 24/7. And it's very, very difficult unless you're turning over big numbers to be able to take holiday, take time out, all of that sort of thing. And so, yeah, I have considered it. I don't know if you have, Zaheer.
I've not considered that, but it's something similar in a way. Like, I was watching Golden Finger Picker, and he's quite a proponent of it. He sets himself up wherever he moves as the go-to guy to sell things to.
Yeah.
So he's like set himself up. He's got his little business cards, and I was thinking of just putting some like cards in windows of shops or whatever, or just maybe putting myself out there in that kind of respect. I would love for people to know that they can come to me rather than and give me like first dibs, as it were, rather than take it to the boot fair, or rather than take it to anywhere else, or sell it themselves on Facebook. I'd rather they know that there's an option that they could just job lot their items.
That does work. I've had limited experience with that, only when I was a Lego seller.
Yeah.
But just be prepared to field a heck of a lot of calls from time wasters and people, saying, well, it goes for this on eBay and all of that, because that's what you'll get. But it does work. There's a guy around here who has adverts on all the Facebook groups and the newspapers everywhere asking for vintage and retro gaming and all the stuff that you can imagine, And
I mean, I was thinking if you just went and if you were kind of upfront about it, I suppose, when someone called, said, I'm going to be looking to sell this on, so you can't, tell me what it goes for on eBay. Just flat out, just say, look, I need to sell this on, so I'm going to be, I'm going to buy it in bulk, but I need a price in which I can do something with. Otherwise,
I've considered it again recently with the sort of gaming stuff and other niches that I specialize in, and being very upfront about I'm after N64s, I will pay up to whatever, 20 quid or whatever it is. And then it's totally upfront, and that cuts out the whole BS of people ringing you up and say, I've got a kilo of Lego, I want 30 quid, all of that rubbish. So I might have a go at that, but don't need any stock.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it kind of got me thinking, because I from my local Facebook group, I actually picked up, do you remember the old Amstrad CPC computers? I got a CPC 464 with some games. It doesn't have a power supply and it doesn't have the TV cable, but apart from that, it looks in good condition, and those are easily gettable. But I got it for like 8 quid, and I went to like this farm. I mean, obviously it's probably to do with where I am now as well, but it was literally on a farm, like, you know, cows everywhere, and it was. I was like, is this the right place? And you know, it was, and I was just thinking, wouldn't it be great to actually have people like this just contact you directly and say, look, I've got some stuff I want to clear out that's been hanging around this house for years. You know, what do what will you give me for it? That kind of thing. So it's just changing the situation a bit. So that's what I was thinking of. So not a shop, but definitely maybe.
I think it's well worth experimenting with.
Exactly.
I think I'll have a go at that at some point.
Yeah. Again. I mean, once you've gotten through some of that. Yeah. Okay, so 113 people in here now, so thank you everybody. If you've got any questions, please type question in capital, and then like put your question, and we will do our best to find it. Just had a question here from Thomas come in. Hi Tom, how are you? I used to know Tom from the boot fairs down south. Used to bump into each other. Yeah, he's lovely. Him and his wife, lovely guys, absolutely. I had a few chats.
I was just going to say, Les came in and he was saying, what I was saying about doing the legwork on the Mac and then dropping the pictures in. That's it was Les who said that. I think it's a great tip, Les, and I'm going to give that a try.
Yeah, like you said, it gives you the best of both worlds, because then you can type out all your description and whatnot on the Mac.
Does anyone know, actually, is there a limit to how many drafts you can save at a time on eBay? I didn't know if there was a draft limit.
Not approached.
Anyone knows, drop it in.
So Thomas says, great show, guys. By the way, when you sell shoes or clothing and people try it but it doesn't fit them, do you have to pay back your postage as well, even though it was described correctly? In theory, you shouldn't, because the buyer should say, they should accept that it was their mistake, or like a change of mind. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they say it's a change of mind, which is what it really is, because unless their feet have grown in the time of you sending the shoes out to them.
I mentioned this in the chat, the hangout that Sean and Caroline were having, and I said about this is a little pitfall of when you have postage combined, because you have to refund the whole lump, whatever. And somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, regardless, I assume it's to do with distance selling regulations, you have to refund them the postage anyway. Yeah. And I didn't think that was the case. I'm probably well out of date on this, but we have always, if somebody says, sorry, it was my mistake, or I changed my mind, we will refund them the product cost once we get it back, and not their postage initially. And we've never had an issue, but I may be completely wrong on that. So we need to do a bit of research, because somebody, I wish I could remember who said it now actually, but they said that I was wrong, and you have to, by law, refund the whole purchase price, including postage. But we've never done that. So I need to look into that.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, like I don't think you're meant to have to pay postage if it's a change of mind. So it's one of those things. It's it's B Schmidt says, funny, I picked up an Amstrad with no cables, etc. for £2 last week. Oh, brilliant.
Somebody's just I've lost it. Legally you have to refund the full amount they paid, including their postage. Amanda said that. So that's interesting. I don't know if there was a law. I mean, I've been doing this since 15 years ago. If somebody decides to change their mind, I'll just refund them the cost. But maybe I have to change the way I'm doing things. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Just goes to show I nowhere near know everything. I make this crap up as I go along.
Mickey Moose wants to reverse his previous question and now ask, if someone offered you an outrageous amount of stock for a ridiculously low price, would you be tempted?
Yes.
So yeah, both ways. There we go.
Yeah, I'd do a Tom and get a storage unit and fill it up.
Vinny says he's got 100 drafts currently. So.
Oh right, okay. I was just interested because I've not really used the draft thing, because up till recently I've used a listing program and I had as many templates or drafts or whatever as I wanted on there. So I've not really saved them in eBay. So that's cool to know.
Yeah. Grady Gardner Martin asks, what's the best time to start sending in board games to FBA?
Oh, well, anytime now, really. Yeah, get organised, get it up there. I mean, what I've done in the past and am doing now is send things up with my Christmas price in mind. So I may be way overpriced if you just look at the list of sellers now. As long as I think there's going to be enough sales this Christmas for all of those to clear out, I'm happy to pitch it way above. And that worked quite well last year. I overpriced certain stuff. So what I might do this year is sort of around middle of December, reassess some stuff. But yeah, that's what I suggest. That's my first job, actually, is to clear as much of this as I can off to Amazon's warehouse. I feel like Amazon's warehouse right now. I'd rather they had it, to be honest. Somebody was just updating about the old consumer regulations and refunds. Amanda again said it's under 2013 consumer regulations.
Right.
Can't be sure what the rules were before then. So yeah, I need to look into that. Someone says, do you think selling consoles is worth it? Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If you pick them up at the right price. There's certain consoles I'd be a bit wary of, like the PlayStation 3s, Xbox 360s. I'd be a bit wary of those. Nick would also be wary of PS2s, I believe.
I hate PS2s. Damn, spawn of the devil.
But whereas I don't think I've had any issues with them, so I'm quite happy to pick them up.
But yeah, definitely 360s I wouldn't touch with a barge pole. There was a while where I used to go around hoovering up all the ones that people said were faulty for like a $5 here or there, because I used to have some money to sell to people who knew how to get around it.
Right.
But now there's no money in it, not even for, not for parts or anything. What have we got going on? Question, FBA, is it really worth it? Do you need to send a certain amount for it to be profitable? I do think it's a matter of numbers with FBA. I've certainly seen that with what I do, and I send a lot of stuff up. But in comparison to some people, but in comparison to other people I know, I send next to nothing. You know what I mean? It's all a matter of scale. But yeah, if you're going to get into FBA, I would suggest, thinking big really. Otherwise, I'd just do merchant fulfilled. What are your thoughts on that, Zaheer?
Well, in my limited experience of it, again, yes, you want to get numbers up there because the fees are quite high. You also have to account for Amazon's more generous returns policy. So if you're only sending in like 3 of an item and the margins are quite tight to begin with, and one of those items gets returned or something like that, you're going to be, you're not going to have a great time. So yeah, it is about volume. You want to be filling those boxes up as much as you can. I've also read a question about have you had any issues with stock going missing at Amazon lately, Nick?
No, I have. People have spoken to me about stuff, even whole boxfuls. Like
I've had literally. I sent in certain stuff for like fourth quarter, and it was boxed literally from like the wholesaler as it was that when you send in your shipment where you can have it as like everything in one box or lots of the same items in one box.
Yeah.
Well, lots of the same items in one box. There was a number of boxes, and I just completely lost one of the boxes. So that was it.
Well, how did they sort that? Did you get?
Well, they didn't really. They sorted it to the extent that I accepted what they offered me. It was very quick. Like I first of all I had to wait a certain amount of time before I could reconcile the shipment. And when I pressed reconcile the shipment, they were like, yes, there looks like we're 4 short of what was meant to be here. So and then they quickly messaged me saying we're going to pay you X amount for this, and it was enough So I thought, okay, screw it. I'm not gonna. I know people can message and argue their case and say, oh, what I sent in was worth this much or that much. It was more than it was worth, so I accepted it because I don't really have the time or the inclination to be kind of.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I've had a few damaged in warehouse items where you suddenly get a message that they've damaged an item and do you want to have it returned to you or destroyed or whatever. Yeah. And they just come up with what seems like a completely arbitrary figure for what they refund you. It's not the price. One of the items, it wasn't the price I had it for sale at. No. It didn't relate to that price in any way. And I messaged them and queried them about it. And I think they said then that I could contest it, but it wasn't worth it. It was only something that's worth like £5 or £10. So, but yeah, I don't understand their system. And another one I've had is I sold one of the Disney box sets that I've been getting from those codes I sent up. Somebody bought it for like 150 quid or something. And then Amazon randomly gave them a goodwill refund of about 20 quid or something. So, and this came through as a message to me. So I rang them up and I said, why? And they couldn't explain or didn't want to explain what the goodwill gesture was for. And I said, well, I didn't, that was my sale. That's come out of my profit. Can I have the money back? And they said, oh yeah, all right. And they gave me the money back, but they weren't going to tell me about it. It was just so weird. And I couldn't get out of them. Why? What? Do you know what I mean?
It's very, it's so, I think that's one of the things that's so kind of funny about them, isn't it? Like, if you ask them, they normally just fold straight away because they haven't got the time to be dealing with you. I think it's literally they want to just churn through your request. So most of the time, I get the feeling that as long as what you're asking isn't completely unreasonable, as long as you've got right on your side, Amazon will look after you. But it does take you contacting them.
For sure. But some of their systems, I really believe they genuinely had no idea why this customer got some money back. I was passed through to a couple of people and they were all like, it was a goodwill gesture. I'm like, I get that.
Yeah,
but, why?
Yeah, like what was it? Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes it does dawn on you that you're playing in their backyard. You really are just a pawn in their big game with FBA. And that can make you a little nervous sometimes, but especially when they can freeze your account like they did to me last December. Nightmare. Right, should we have a look what's going on in the chat?
Yeah. Smart Reselling Daz says I should send my bronze statue into Amazon. Hopefully they might lose it for you. If it was bronze, I'd actually be quite happy. The problem is it's not. That's the problem. It was brass painted as bronze. Oh, the shame.
Going back to the old, should we refund the full price or take off the postage? Someone said, JDM Visual says, I wouldn't worry. Oh, Nick, he's meant to put that. I wouldn't worry, Nick. I can't see the riot squad turning up for you for not refunding the odd $2.85 postage. And if they do, they'd have to pick me up on the way because I do the same. But yeah, so I won't lose sleep over it, but I would like to know where I stand with the law on it, to be fair.
Yeah. DJG Stone asks, you may have already discussed this, but what's happening with the shop? So if you want to just clarify, there's 120 people watching now. So
with the shop, with our clothing shop, we have very clear financial plans that we wanted for that place. It wasn't getting there numbers wise. We negotiated a way out of the lease with the landlord, and we have now closed the shop. So we are right now in the process of moving. All this stuff was down at my office where I used to do my videos from. So we're moving that all home. This is what used to be my garage. I had this converted professionally to interior space about 2.5, 3 years ago now. And this is where I used to do my videos from, and I used to run my business from here. So now we're just coming back on ourselves and going back to how we were. So it was a short and sweet experiment that didn't get to where we wanted. That kind of sums it up. Right.
Oh, questions.
Sorry, I keep getting messages. It's WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
It's reseller chat going on.
Okay. Mickey Moose says, or asks, is there a minimum amount of items you can start Amazon FBA with? Is there like a minimum number? I didn't think there was.
Sorry, I was completely miles away.
No, it's a question from Mickey Moose. Is there a minimum amount of items you can start Amazon FBA with? I thought you could just send in even one item.
I think so. Yeah, I think you'd have to check with them. I mean, I'm not the Amazon expert really, but I think you can. I've never seen any limits on it or minimums. There certainly are limits, actually. Don't quote me on that one. Tom reached his limit, 5,000, and had to get an extension. I'm not sure about minimums, don't I?
Gary Dunster asks, have you got used to their new pay system, like FBA's pay system? Have they had a new pay system yet?
Haven't noticed.
No. It's all good.
I should take more notice of these things. Interesting question. Joe Scott says, basically, would you haggle in a charity shop? Over to you.
I personally wouldn't, I think. I don't think I would. If it's priced, I wouldn't. Actually, no. I just wouldn't. I mean, if they ask, if it's reasonable, then you pay it. If it's not reasonable, then you walk off. Otherwise, unless you were doing like a really special deal, unless you were like buying up a vast amount of stock from them, I don't think I would find the right kind of way into a haggle.
Yeah, I don't as a rule. Like you said, if it's priced, and that's what they want for it. I have talked about this once. I did do a deal on a big stack of graphic novels, and I just was very open about it. I said, I'm interested, but I can't pay that. Would you take X amount on the lot? And they bit my hand off. So I have done it once, but as a general rule, haggling, it's just over the counter in a charity shop.
Yeah, there's a time and a place, isn't there?
Yeah. Boot sales, absolutely. Yeah, it's half
every time. Yeah. And at boot sales, I'll haggle no matter what they're asking, and it doesn't matter to me, because the way I see it is, if I can get a pound item for 50p, that's like 50% off. And the worst thing is, like, as long as you do it with a smile on your face, I mean, you don't do it seriously. Like, I don't take a pound item and look at it from all angles and go, ooh, it's got this wrong with it, or this. I don't do it that way. I just say, would you take 50p, with like a smile, and they're like, come off it, mate. And sometimes they'll be, if they like come off it, I'm like, oh, I've got to ask. It's like a reflex when I'm at a boot fair and they have a laugh, I have a laugh, because it's true. When I'm at a boot fair, I almost feel compelled to haggle, and then sometimes they'll be like, yeah, sure. So it's a win-win. Either you're gonna have a little laugh with the seller, or you're gonna get it for the price, the cheeky offer.
So, yeah, I asked the question so many times, and I'll just give you that look, and I'm like, it's all right, I'm only asking, and then give them the money they want to do.
And it relaxes them as well, and
But how many times have you gone in? This is more on like bundles of stuff or an expensive item that they're asking 15, and you think, well, I'm going to start at 5, because then you're going to come back at 10, right? So you come in at 5 and they go, meh, okay. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, just where they surprise you with just accepting an offer. Yeah, I mean, it has happened, and you do think, I mean, I've had the other way as well, where I've misheard someone, and it's a lot more than I think it is, and I'm trying to give them 50p, and actually they wanted like £3.50, and and I know £3.50 is not a lot, but we were talking about a PS1 AV cable actually, and for that is actually quite a lot at a boot fair for an AV cable.
God, yeah. 50p is pushing it.
Yeah, 50p I'll pay all day. I don't mind, but
one of the funniest car boot stories I ever heard was from Tom, when he said he was because he's a coin collector at heart, and he loves it, and he always rummages in pots of coins and fishes out the stuff he wants. He was at a stall rummaging through a pot of coins, and he realized it was their money pot. Have you heard that story from Tom? And they looked up and went, what are you doing? So, what do you say at that point?
I mean, even though it's the truth, then it still looks so dodgy, doesn't it?
Oh, it totally does.
Yeah, you can't. Well,
have you had your ka-ching go off much at boot sales?
I a couple times, but Rebecca normally just says, your volume. I'm like, oh shit, quick. You can't really hear it, when you.
Yeah, I've had knowing looks from other buyers, and then you go, oh, you're a reseller. There was quite a discussion going on about having the balls to haggle in a charity shop. most people saying that, yeah, not the done thing.
Yeah. Brand new, it's never been, yeah. When you say, oh, Miss Beauty says, yeah, when you say how much, oh, it's brand new and never been opened. Oh, I've got to say, this is definitely a bugbear of mine. Just what people's standards are, or, when it comes to something that's new or unused. Or, I mean, we've all seen the Facebook posts where they're like brand new, never worn, and there's someone wearing the item.
Oh, wearing it.
Yeah. We've all seen those, and I don't even know if those are real. Surely they're not. They can't. They must be like memes. But yeah, people's idea of what is real is astonishing, isn't it? I mean, not what's real, what's new is astonishing.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, and you get it a lot with like games. They say, "Oh, we never played that." So I go, "Well, do you mind if I have a look then?" All the pieces are scattered everywhere, all out of their bits of cardboard, and you're like, Or they're like Cluedo or something, and they filled in the answer.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, it's definitely been used, and then they just keep along with the story. It's like, yeah, we never played that. No. Okay, whatever.
Chat is really popping on here.
Yeah, I can't keep up with the chat, actually.
Hannah Gordon Smith asks, did you have a mentor or books, course, YouTube to use read? Is FBA good for a newbie? Well, I mean, YouTube was definitely what got me into this. I mean, Nick started making YouTube videos about it, but Nick you knew about all this stuff anyway. You didn't learn it from a course or a book, did you? So
were they talking about FBA though?
Just I don't know. Question: did you have a mentor or books course? It seems like there's two separate questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in terms of
regarding eBay and reselling, we were literally making up as we went along, and we didn't really know anybody else that was doing it. eBay was this was late 90s when I started on eBay, and it was really like the Wild West, and you just went with it and learnt as you go, really. But with FBA, I was watching videos, chatting to Tom, who'd been doing it for quite a while.
There's plenty of info out there. YouTube's an amazing resource. I mean, there's nothing quite like seeing visually like what people do. I mean, sometimes I still like to watch GilDaddy's FBA shipment video, where they've got all this stuff piled on their living room floor.
On the living room floor, I remember that.
I love watching that. I don't know why. I don't watch it like every day. Don't get me wrong. It's not like a daily thing, but.
Are you stalking the gills?
Yeah, I love watching it because it's just like they're happy to do a shipment like that, and just interesting to watch when you're learning.
For sure. One thing I do suggest to people who are they just found out what FBA is and they think, I'm going to jump in. I would strongly suggest doing merchant fulfilled for a few months, just to learn how Amazon works, just to learn a bit about the whole system and see if it works for you. And then, it's just another step to do FBA, because if you jump in with both feet to FBA, your stuff's all at the warehouse. If you don't get on with it, or you don't find you're finding enough stock to keep it going, you've then got to get it all back, Whereas if you kind of find your feet with merchant fulfilled, which means to have the stock here with you, then if you change your mind or if you want to stick it all on eBay, you can do that. It doesn't cost you a penny. So I would recommend to everybody to dip your feet in with merchant fulfilled first. I wouldn't take the plunge straight into FBA. That would be my advice. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think with everything, it helps. I mean, my first sale on Amazon was actually the only reason I actually even opened an Amazon account was when I picked up a copy of the Getopoly board game, and I listed it on eBay because I'd seen people sell it for like 80 quid and stuff, and mine obviously got taken down. And I found out the only way I could sell it was on Amazon. So I had to, at the time I picked it up in like November or December in a really cold, dark boot sale. So I actually had to wait until the second week of January so that I could put it up as a merchant fulfilled item, because it was my very, very first sale. And I think I only sold it for like 50 quid merchant fulfilled, because I was just, I was kind of unaware of the whole thing really. And I just wanted to get my first sale. And I was like, will it really sell at 80, or something? And I just thought, screw it. I only paid 2 quid,
So that's eBay take that off if you list it on eBay, yet Amazon are happy with it?
You can sell Getopoly all day, every day on Amazon for really good money as well. From I don't know what it's worth now, but it was good money. Especially, I mean, if I'd known about like FBA and all that stuff, then you could have probably asked. I could have asked like a lot more. But I literally only opened the account specifically to sell Getopoly, and I didn't use the account for ages. And then it's only like last year or something that I got into using the Amazon account properly.
That's on my kind of bucket list. The amount of board games I've shifted and I've never even seen one, let alone bought one.
It looks so shabby. So I mean, it's quite a shabby looking board game. So it's I suppose it's a bucket list item. Let's have a look. With regards to Gary Dunstars, with regards to guests, would you guys be able to do a chat ever with Michael Pearce or Craigslist Hunter? I think it would make a great show. Well, Nick, weren't you meant to be having a chat with Michael before he became ill?
I did. It was actually myself, Tom, the English Picker, and Michael. Over on Michael's channel, we did a hangout literally like the week before he fell really ill. And then if you know Michael Pearce, you'll know he then had lots and lots of problems and was ill for a long time. And he just never got around to editing the video or putting it up. I talked to him fairly regularly, and last time I messaged him, it felt like it had been long enough, and he's well enough now. He's putting out videos. I actually said to him, have you still got that chat? Are you going to make it live? So it may appear at some point. But yeah, if not, I'll happily get Michael on. I think he's a great bloke.
Okay, let's have a look. Greg Willis says boot sale Sunday. Just hope Nick hasn't traveled 250 miles to get there. So someone there that's hoping that you won't turn up at their boot sale.
Well, I think I'm on a self-imposed no stock buying.
You'll be out on Sunday if it's sunny. Come on.
It's funny. I made my little update video yesterday. I watched that back actually. I looked such a mess. I was just knackered. I was like beard everywhere because I hadn't shaved at that point. I was like just so tired. I looked awful. Anyway, and I was saying in that video that I was just overwhelmed with how much stock I was just finding squirreled away. And I said I could go 6 months without buying and be comfortable. And virtually everybody was just saying, yeah, whatever, Nick. As if you're not going to go out buying stock. People know me.
Yeah. Seen it for too long, that's why. I've seen it. Okay. Happy Chap asks what the chuff is up with shipping to the Channel Islands. Hermes don't go there, and Royal Mail charge 12 quid for a large item. Yep, it's just something you've got to be aware of. There are certain there's certain places where you have to charge extra to make sure you're covered. I mean, I know when you do international shipping on eBay, they give you the option to add a surcharge for places like Alaska and Puerto Rico when you do international shipping because of how remote they are, I guess. And it's the same with the Channel Islands, that it costs extra money to send it there. You can just set up a rule for that, can't you? Or is that right?
Yeah, you can select countries that you don't ship to.
Well, you could block them, yeah, but I wouldn't block them. I'd just, offer the sale, set up a rule. That there's only a couple of countries that are like, there's only a couple of destinations that are like that. You could easily set up a rule for it, couldn't you? I'm sure.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I think, I just had a question and it whizzed past. Oh, I lost it. Anyway.
Would you buy Mario Kart 8 limited edition for £55? Damaged box though. I think no.
I'd look into it, find out how much it's worth.
Joe Scott asks, Zaheer, just wanted to ask, do you guys not get embarrassed haggling on a £1 item? Well, like I said, when you haggle on a £1 item, you're not. I'm not taking it, and the guy says pound. I'm not looking at it going, oh yeah, I mean, see, it's got a scuff there, and oh yeah, that's a bit loose. Now I can only give you 50p. It's not worth the quid. It's worth. You don't do that. That's that's like the traditional haggle, isn't it? You make, you don't do that. You just plain ask, how much is it? It's £1. Just take 50p. No, fine. That's it. That's what I mean by haggling. It's very different. I'm not tire kicking. You know,
it is a little bit harder when you've got that one item that you pick up, because the focus is right there, and you do feel a bit stingy. But most of my haggling is when you gather all your bits, don't you? And they come up with £12.50.
Yeah.
Look at them, and they know you're going to say a tenner. They know.
They know. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, when I do these single items, and like for £1, if something's for £1, or if something's £2, I'll offer £1 or whatever. I make sure I've got the right money. You don't want to haggle a £1 item down to 50p and then give them a £1 coin, because that's just like rubbing salt in the wounds.
Yeah, we've all done that though.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you've got a 50p piece.
Oh, somebody was saying about where I don't do this line, the one where you go, I've only got £2.25 left or whatever, or you've only got a fiver left, and then you whip out, you know what I mean? Then you happen to, all I've actually got is a tenner, and then you have to give it to me.
That happened to me this weekend.
Oh, was it you that was telling me about it? Somebody mentioned it recently.
It was so embarrassing because I said, oh, it's my last tenner, and I handed the tenner over to them for these wrestling belts, and there was actually 2 tenners because they were new for them.
That's it. It was you. That's a classic.
They took it in good spirit, but yeah, that was really embarrassing.
Fantastic. I've just noticed. I just had a message from my good wife saying, Nick, just off to guides. She runs the Girl Guide group.
Oh, right. 7:22, yeah.
She says, good luck at poker, because I'm playing in my local poker game later. And my dinner's in the kitchen. Life is good. Life is good.
Well, it is 7:22, so I don't know if you want to wrap it up now. And
yeah, we can do. I was just going to, I've seen a couple of people mention, Darren's just mentioned it as well, the board game that I was designing. I haven't really stopped to think about that. Occasionally I'll get it out and have a look at it, and then there's 101 other things that take priority. So it's on the back burner. That's all I can really say about that. I pretty much finished the design of it, but I don't have the headspace to think about
at the moment
taking it any further.
At the moment,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate again, so from next week, we'll be here on Tuesday.
Yeah, it looks like it. That does work for me. If it works for you, mate.
It works for me, fine. So, and hopefully, you said we're going to have a guest, Vinny.
Vinny said he can do Tuesday, I believe. So I will message Vinny and sort that out and get that all sorted. And we can chat to Vinny about trading cards.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
I've got a few questions actually lined up. So yeah, that would be good. He's always nice to talk to. So yeah, should we wrap that up there?
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. 120 people still watching. So
wow, give us some likes. Let's see how many likes we can get this one to.
Yeah, let's see if we can get more. 121 people watching. We should be able to get more than 40 that we've got at the moment. But thank you everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, good chatting with you, Zaheer. And it's been nice and much more relaxing for me, actually, to just be sat somewhere.
You don't have to keep moving around and
not worrying that the sun's going down. I'm going to turn into a vampire. You know, it's so much better. And in HD, glorious HD. Anyway, cheers for the chat. Thanks for everyone popping in and all the questions. And we'll see you next Tuesday, remember. And we should have Vinny with us for a chat.
All right. And
take it easy, mate.